Hey, what's happening, Pizzaholics? Behind me is Rustic Pizza. Right across the street from the new DiFara Staten Island location. It's a beautiful day. No better time to dine on some pizza with some guests, by the way.
Let's go.
Featuring Kevin and Lawrence, some of my channel supporters. What do you say we go eat, guys?
Let's do it.
Let's go eat. All right, here we go. Not too bad, not too bad. Looks like a 5 cheese, and I should have asked what kind of cheese. I guess we're gonna have to assume. Crust looks nice and light. Does it crackle on the bend? I'm grabbing the first slice. Pretty decent snap, pretty decent. I like the bottom, a little bit of fluff going.
Grab the one with a nice big bubble. Get some nice aeration there.
Well, you don't be absorbed for a while.
I expected a little more crisp. I expected more crisp.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
This is my tradition.
Yeah. Little nudge, little nudge, little nudge.
Thank you for the pie, by the way.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, I like it in a jar. Back.
I got very few gripes, guys.
This is up your alley. I think you love the sauce.
I really do. Slightly tart. Sauce is a little sour. Little.
It's interesting. The first couple bites I had, didn't really get much sauce. It felt more like a white pie than more of a traditional pie.
Yeah, the way the sauce is splotched on, you're gonna encounter patches and segments of the slice where it's just cheese.
But not in a bad way.
Yeah, you probably got one of those slices, you know that. This one's pretty saucy. It's kind of dripping on the plate. It's taking bites and it's kind of spilling out.
Would have liked a touch more garlic. Like a little bit more garlic.
Yes, there is. It's very light. For a pizza this light, I expect a little more crunch. Very light on the crunch. Not exactly doughy. The chew is on the light to moderate side. Not exactly a gummy pizza or very heavy on the chew at all. And I'm loving that, guys. There is some... I'm gonna need some soap after this one, folks. All right, folks, into the lab we go. We're gonna give our thoughts on the 5 cheese. This is called a Rustic 5 cheese. It's their signature pie. Wasn't perfect, and so we're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna start with Lawrence's thoughts. Lawrence, what'd you think about the Rustic 5 cheese here at Rustic Pizza?
I thought it was a good pie. It's certainly not a traditional New York pie. It did have a very thin crust, which is reminiscent of something you will find locally to Staten Island. However, it was more of a gourmet type flavor. The issue that I had with it was the first bite I had didn't really have any sauce. It felt more like a white pie and something you would think like a margarita style or even a traditional New York style. But as you got further into the pie, you got the fresh basil, which is a nice addition. You got the sauce, which, as Antonio has said, it was a bit tangy, but it was flavorful. The crust, especially if you eat it a little bit colder, did kind of give a reminiscent of almost a little bit of very commercial type pizza, which I thought was interesting also, but it did definitely taste above just your average slice.
Definitely above average, mostly due to that fantastic crust, which didn't have as much crisp as I expected it to be, given the significant amount of aeration there, guys, as you can see. It's rather airy. Very light on the chew, like I said before. But like Lawrence said, he was right. The way the sauce is splotched on, you're going to have segments of the pie where it's just cheese. Because, you know, the sauce is ladled on and there's nothing underneath it. When they ladle on sauce like that, I want sauce under the cheese as well. Like this, you're getting, you know, a very balanced bite. And occasionally, you know, you're going to run into portions of the pizza where it's just cheese. But if I were to talk about the sauce, I would say slightly tart, but it did have some tang, a little sourness, but I really enjoyed the tomato flavor, never too pasty. I prefer it a little pulpier. You know me, guys, I like the pulp. I like it a little chunkier than this, so a little subjective take on the sauce. We got to talk about this crust because it could have used a minute in the oven. But it's not that bad, guys. I mean, pretty decent bottom, I think. Looks a little pale in spots, especially on the top end of the cornicione there. And I'm thinking maybe I may move it down the scale because it is a little pale. Good bright green olive oil present on the pizza, as you can see there. I like the 5 cheese. I should have asked him what cheese exactly. But if I were to assume, I would say fresh mozzarella, obviously, low moisture mozzarella as well, and maybe, of course, a dusting of grated cheese is made evident there on the sauce. There's 2 more, guys. So
I would like a little more from the hard cheese.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
More from that.
Yeah, it looks like the dusting of that hard cheese is not exactly. You know, they could have put a little more on there for sure. So, Kevin, what did you think about this pizza?
It's not my style. I got the most well-done slice of the bunch, I think, and you know, towards the back of the crust, it did explode in my hand on those last few bites. Some good, some good char on it.
Yeah, this is pretty decent char on it. Like I said, I needed a bar of soap after eating this one.
But my slice had a lot of sauce on it, so that's what was the most prevalent.
Me too. I think, Lawrence, I think you got the dry slice, man.
You got the white pie.
You got the dry slice. 'Cause if you notice, guys, some slices are quite saucy.
The basil was not overpowering. The one thing I'll say I like about that, it was not overpowering. But the taste from the cheese, just, it wasn't as prevalent, and I would have liked a little more grated cheese on it.
You know me, I love grated cheese, and I think they could have put a little more. So you're saying you like basil when it's not taking over the 3 ingredients?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that makes
cut basil seems to be, rather than throwing a whole, you know, tree of it on there like from Collywood or something like that. Even though his is not as killer as some others.
All right, folks, the pizza gets cold. We give it another fold to test the crust for its integrity. Does it retain crisp long after cooling down? It didn't have much crunch when it was hot. Listen, not much crackling going on. It's really strange crust. I haven't encountered a crust like this in a long time.
I'll grab a saucy one this time and see if that.
Grab the saucy one, Lawrence. You got gypped before. I got the dry one.
Your opinion on that. Are you a real cold pizza guy? Are you guys in the? I'm not a big cold pizza guy.
Really?
Do it a little bit more than I.
You don't like cold pizza?
I want it as hot as possible, right out of the oven.
Oh, you're not a cold pizza.
Yeah, I kind of sort of saying, like, are you a cold pizza kind of guy? Like, do you like it as much 10 minutes later?
Well, no, absolutely not. But I do the cold test because the mark of a good crust is that it retains crunch after cooling down. And so I judge a crust based on how it feels how the texture is when it's cold.
Some people like cold pizza.
I don't eat cold pizza ever. I never do.
I'll eat it out of the fridge for breakfast sometimes.
Some people do like cold pizza.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. They like it cold. It's like a different experience. It's a different, you know. I never eat pizza cold. The cold test is just to kind of judge the crust. You don't have to eat it if you don't like it, but sometimes you can just tell by moving it around, and there's no crisp. And that's okay if it was a Neapolitan, but this crust should have a little more crunch because it's kind of very much in closer to the New York style. And for a New York style pizza, I want a little bit of crunch, you know. Kind of New York with a little artisanal flair. I'm gonna go 7.6. 7.6 for Rustic. Kevin?
I go 7-8. Pretty generous.
7-8.
Still a good flavor.
That's
you know, all
believable.
around.
Yeah, believable, absolutely. The 5 cheeses, decent sauce. Had potential to be an 8-1. Maybe if it was cooked differently.
A little more garlic. A little garlic and hard cheese.
A little more hard cheese and garlic. He likes the garlic. Lawrence, did you score it yet? No.
No, and I'll split the difference between the gentleman beside me. I'll say a 7-7.
7-7. So we're all pretty much on the same page. Rustic Pizza and Pasteria. Guys, DiFara, the Titan, is lurking behind us. We got little David here. Well, folks, that about wraps it up for Rustic Pizza and Pasticceria, known for their artisanal pastas and pretty decent pizza. So, guys, when you come to the new DiFara, they're behind me. Be sure to stop into Rustic Pizza for something different. You're not going to find zucchini bechamel pizza at DiFara. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you want something a little more gourmet, if you want lobster pizza, and you know, they make all sorts of specialty pies. Kevin is one of the most experienced pizza connoisseurs I've ever met. He's been everywhere. So you want to follow Kevin's page on the One Bite app. Kevin Price on the One Bite app. I want to thank Lawrence for being one of my top channel supporters. Everybody in the comment section, leave your thanks for Lawrence. He's one of the channel's top supporters. Lawrence, you get a free t-shirt for being one of my top channel supporters. Yep. Thank you for the babka, by the way. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Smash that like, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, keep those bellies full, folks. This is Antonio, Lawrence, and Kevin signing off.